supposing I have a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is the day after the miracle, where when you got home, you know, your kids were quietly doing homework, they were playing, they were getting along with each other, you know, your wife was calm, she was making dinner, DCF was out of your hair, you know, you were able to make plans with your family and your kids, there was doing projects with them, getting your needs met in ways, talking, listening to one another. I mean, there can be others, but that's a 10. That's and 1 is the opposite. Where would you say you are now in terms of your miracle? What number?
One's the opposite of
Right.
the miracle.
10 is the miracle.
10 is the miracle,
Right.
one's the opposite.
Right.
Probably about a 4.
4. And is that number going up, down, the same?
Yeah, no, I think it's going up.
What's
because it was probably a 2 a while ago. I mean, that when things were like at
their worst.
Yeah,
And
they've gotten better. Things are getting
what's
a little better.
what's making it not a 2 or a 3 right now? What's a little better?
Well, I suppose when there's the arguing between the boys, the brothers at each other, I think we're able to get them separated a little bit more, so things calm down a little bit. I mean, it doesn't go on for
So it's a
the
little
hours
calmer.
that it would go on for before. Yeah, still, I mean, it's too much, but I mean, but it's less. When you can hold it down to about a half hour of mayhem or chaos.
Right.
That's significantly. That's I guess it seems to be better. I mean, it's still we got.
What do you suppose it would take to get to a 5, just a little bit better, so you know you're moving forward towards that miracle? What would a 5 look like? What do you imagine you'd be doing, or your children, or wife, that you'd say, wow, it's a little better?
I'd probably both Judy and I would probably be working together a little bit more at figuring out how to get our kids calmed down, get them to be a little bit more patient, that we can figure it out or whatever, you know. That we.
What do you think it would take for you and Judy? You know, what might you be doing when you're working together and keeping your kids calmer and having a little more patience? What would it take for you to work together more? What would that take you to doing?
Well, I'd probably be a little bit. I'd probably listen to her a little bit more, and I think I've been doing some of this. I think that's what's helping. But listen to her in terms of sort of staying on top of not blowing up, recognizing, trying to stay calmer.
Sometimes I ask number questions because number questions help me will hopefully help you. I have this board from 1 to 10. Okay, 10 is kind of a smile. So I have this board from 1 to 10, and I'll give you the board. You can see the numbers. So I'm wondering if 10 is the day after the miracle. You know, when you're having this skip in your step and you're smiling and you're doing well in math, and teachers are seeing that you're doing well, and you're getting along better with your parents, and they seem like they're in a better mood, and the trust is better between you and parents. There's other things, but 10 is the best, and 1's the worst. The opposite. Where would you say things are now for you?
Should I circle it?
Yeah, circle what you think.
I'd say I'm like at a 4.
A 4. Okay, great. And what makes it not lower than a 4? I mean, it's not a 3, a 2, or a 1.
Because most of my problems happen at school.
Okay.
So when I get home, I kind of like, if it was just at school, I'd probably be at about a 2. But when I get home, it kind of rises a little bit. My mood gets better.
Oh, what makes it rise at home?
Well, because I know I don't have like all this burden. Well, I still have the burden on my shoulders, but I have less of a burden.
So home kind of gives you a sense of relief, or
it gives me like a sense. It gives me like, it's kind of like a safe zone.
Oh, great. I'm wondering, Demi, what are your what are your best hopes moving forward with, you, and you said you have 2 kids, right? Mm-hmm. What are your best hopes for both you and your kids, so that you can say, yeah, we're moving forward, we're doing something different. This is a different kind of.
The first thing that comes to mind is not being stupid. I feel like I'm just so stupid. Like the stuff I put myself, just dumb. I just don't want them to be stupid.
When you say them, you don't want your kids to be stupid?
I don't want them to be stupid. I don't want to be stupid anymore. Like, what kind of persons put themselves in this situation? Like, really?
So what would you hope to do instead of these, putting yourself in these situations? What would you hope to do instead that would tell you, yeah, I'm not doing these stupid things? What would you hope to do instead?
Wow, I haven't thought about it. It's kind of exciting to think about. I would like to finish school.
What would you like to finish school? What are your hopes for yourself?
I always like kind of helping people.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I had a close relationship with my grandmother, so maybe working at a nursing home or something. I've never done it before, but maybe having my own money. I've never worked. I never had to work.
Wow.
So maybe just being able to take care of me without having to, sneak in the stash of money to get food in the house or get something for me, or having to always ask, like, hey, can I get $100 today? They have to explain everything that I need to do with this $100.
So you'd be finishing school and be having a profession where you could work and help others. What else would be your best hopes? That you'd say, yeah, my life is different. It's moving forward.
For my kids to be okay.
Okay.
For them to, I don't know, block out some of the things that they say. I just want them to be okay. I don't want them to grow up to be boys that hit women and, to kind of learn to respect the woman. And I think that's what got it. When my boys started calling me names and...
Something, when that light bulb, was that part
Yeah, that light bulb went off. Like,
yeah.
It's one thing for him to be a jerk, but not my kids.
So was that different when they started doing...
Yeah, it was different inside. Like, my kids, you don't talk to me like that.
So when you say you want them to grow up being respectful to others or to women, what would tell you they're okay? You said you want your kids to be okay. What kind of things would they be doing that you'd say, I think they're...
Maybe get on a sport team.
Okay. Yeah.
Graduating high school.
What have you and your wife tried to do for the kids that has been helpful?
Well, Judy's on top of recognizing Dylan's problem. She's taken him to counseling. She figures that he really needs to be able to, do other stuff. That do stuff with his hands and get outside and get some fresh air when he gets home from school. before she, faces the music with the, trying to get him to sit down and do his homework.
So she's
kind of figured that stuff out.
And so she's taking him to counseling. She's figuring out that when he does stuff with his hands or he gets outside, that's been a little bit helpful.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I gotta give myself credit. I do that with him on the weekends when I have time.
Right. With your fishing and
building. And most of the time it goes pretty well.
What goes well most of the time?
We have a good time. We work together on figuring out how, sort of the engineering part of fixing these models and designing things. And just when we're out fishing, he can focus on that. He seems to be a little bit more relaxed when he's, doing stuff that he enjoys. So
you and Judy both are working hard to get him outside, do stuff with his hands. You're teaching him a lot about engineering. He's designing things, fishing, and that seems to help. Whose idea was it for you to come here?
Oh, my PO's.
Oh, okay. And what did your PO, what was kind of the situation? What did he or she say?
Well, I had possession charges and whatnot, and they said, we're going to commit you unless you agree to go to a treatment program, and I would rather do that than have a lot of time being locked up.
Right. Makes sense. So that took a lot for you to kind of make that decision to come here instead.
Yeah.
So what is your PO saying you need to do to not get locked up? What do you have to do?
I have to complete this program. And then I have to pass drug tests.
Yeah.
And go to whatever the program recommends after I leave outpatient or whatever.
Yeah. So you've been working hard to stay here, kind of thinking through what your options are, whether you stay here and complete the program, or you'll end up in lockup. How have you been able to stick it out and not leave? I mean, how have you done it? Because that's tough to do.
Well, I really don't want to go to lockup, so I just try to focus on myself. When the other girls, started having drama or whatever, I just try to stay out of it. And
so, is that different for you, that you're able to focus on yourself?
Yeah.
What do you think? Is that different?
Yeah, I mean, Vanessa said earlier that she tries to help her friends, and I think she's always worried about everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is different, that she's not getting involved in all the drama.
Right. Do you think that would be helpful for her, knowing her, to focus on herself? It sounds like.
I think so. I know when she calls me on her 5-minute phone calls that she cries and says she wants to leave and talks about how everybody's so annoying.
It's got to be hard for you to listen to those phone calls.
Yeah, I want her home.
Of course. So how have you managed the phone calls to not take her home?
I end up calling the clinical staff and talking to them and really checking in on how she's doing, because at the beginning I was ready to come and get her.
Wow. So you've stuck it out too.
Yeah, it's been a process for me too.
If I have another scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is you're really confident that you will be able to move forward, to move it to a 4, that you're going to be able to go in that direction. And 1 is the opposite. Where would you say you are in terms of your confidence to move forward?
How close am I moving forward?
If
10 is the highest.
10 is you're sure you're going to move forward. There's absolutely no question. And 1
Maybe
is the
a
opposite.
6.
A 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what gives you that confidence that it's not lower than a 6 when you're more than halfway there?
Right. And that's how I look at it. I'm more than halfway there. I made the first step to get out.
Huge.
So that takes me over half. I did the first thing. And I've been there a week, so that kind of takes me over.
You've already stayed there a week, and how have you managed to stay this week? I mean, you didn't go back to him. How did you manage to stay for this long?
Because I just know we're in a better place. I mean, I would prefer to sleep in my own bed versus bunk beds and things like that, but I just couldn't, the beating, I'm just tired.
Of course.
And just thinking of how tired and the beating that I might endure going back.
Of course. You're thinking, it sounds like now that you mentioned that was a really important step for you, that you've gotten out of there, so you're thinking this through more. Thinking through what it would like to go back and what it's like to go forward. And I'm wondering, do you think how helpful, again I'm going to ask you a scaling question, but how helpful do you think it's been for your kids that you've done this for them? 10 is you think, this is what they need, this is most helpful for them, and 1's the opposite. What do you think how helpful do you think it's been for them to make this?
From my perspective, how helpful this has been for them?
Yes,
and they don't realize it. Definitely a 10, maybe an 8. Between an 8 and a 10, because they're not with their father, having that father figure. But then again, if I'd have stayed there, they might not have been with a mother figure.
Right.
So
that's a good number. What else do you think is making that an 8 or a 10 and not lower in terms of how helpful it is for them to be out of that situation?
Not lower, because I'm doing all of this for them.
Yeah.
They are my motivation.
Yeah. You love them a lot.
I love them a lot.
We have to end in a minute, but Demi, I am so impressed with your strength to get out of that frightening, terrifying situation and do whatever it took to get your kids out of there and to get into a shelter and be able to have these moments to think, and how you are able to use your past experiences and your really difficult traumatic experience to move forward, and that you're still able to see that there's something different out there and that there's something on the other side. And what your vision, though I know it was hard to think that way, but your vision for yourself to get an education, to get a job, to get your kids in school, to think about their hopes for the future, it's just really impressive. And I think also that you've stayed here for this week, and that you're using this time to really think it through, and that you're in an okay place and you're able to accept help, even though it's really difficult, of course. I would just say keep doing what you're doing, and notice when it's a 4. I mean, it's you're already doing it. Well, let me just start by asking you what's better. What's been better since we last met?
I haven't really thought about it.
It's a hard question.
It is a hard question. I think everything is just happening so fast that I haven't slowed down enough to think.
Yeah. So what do you think when you as we're kind of slowing down and thinking about it, what do you think's been a little better since we last?
I'm away from my jerk of a husband.
Oh.
I think that's a whole lot better.
Yeah. How's that been? Has that been helpful for you?
Yeah, because I'm not getting slapped around every night. So,
of course.
Yeah, I don't have to worry when he's coming in drunk or high, and is this night going to start, and I don't have to worry about that.
Scary for you.
Definitely, very scary.
So, how else has it been helpful that you're away from him?
My kids are okay.
They are.
They want to see their father, of course.
Right.
But that's hard because he's not safe.
Right.
He's scary.
Right. It's got to be hard for you to kind of think about, you know, it sounds like
I'm the bad guy.
You're protecting your kids, though. You're doing what they need. And I'm wondering, when you said they're okay, I mean, it's hard for them. What tells you that they're okay?
I'm thinking they're okay because they're with me.
Yeah.
And we're not there, and they're not seeing the kind of things that they were seeing before.
Right. Have you noticed what else is that they're doing that tells you they're okay?
So I've been gone for like a week now. Thinking the first couple of nights was hard for them sleeping. But now they are able to kind of sleep through the night. They are, like I said, they're at the playroom now. Before they were stuck to my hip.
Right.
So they're starting to feel just a little bit more comfortable, and I feel comfortable enough that I was like, okay, they're going to be okay here.
Right. And then you could come here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you've been gone from him for about a week. How did you do this? Were you able to get out of this situation? I mean, it sounds like it was really, really tough and scary for you.
It was scary.
How did you do it?
I just had to do it. I think we just kind of, having that busted, I mean, it was just really bad this time. And I was just like, my life, I need to be here for my kids. Like, one day he is going to end up killing me. Like, he was choking me so hard, like not being able to breathe and just, I didn't know. So I just thought to myself, when he goes to sleep or if he goes to work, we're just going to leave, and left everything.
Wow. That takes tremendous courage and strength on your part.
Yeah.
Have you been able to do this before, or was this the first time you've done this?
No, this is the first time.
The first time.
And it's still scary.
Of course it is. How have you been coping with all this the past week? I mean, how have you been managing day to day to get to do this?
Day to day, kind of not thinking about it, I guess. Just kind of blocking it out, leaving it like a blur. And talking to some of the other women, like they have groups and stuff. Being there, like they kind of have you go to mandatory groups as part of being there. So I'm not talking in the groups because I don't know those people.
Of course.
So I'm just there with them, kind of, listening to some of the stuff that they've been through.
Has that been helpful for you to be a part, just to even listen, to be a part of these groups?
First, it's kind of weird.
Of course.
I'm not like them. And I didn't want to be seen like that label. Like,
sure, of course.
So it's kind of hard, but because I have to be there, I'm trying to, just do what I got to do. But now listening to these stories and these people's lives, my life was like theirs. Some of this was a lot worse.
Wow.
But it's rough.
Has it been helpful for you to, even though it's, you're forced to go to these groups, do you think it's been helpful for you? How has it been helpful for you? I mean, you said it's been a little helpful. How has it been?
I say it's been helpful because just to hear the strength of a woman, I think, I can't describe it any other way.
Yeah.
But it seems like just hearing, even though everybody's story is different, just how we all had to kind of just dig in deep finally to just kind of overcome. And I can't explain the strength, the fear, all that kind of stuff that kind of goes in your head because you just do.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what connects us all in a weird kind of way. We just do.
Sounds like the strength that you're talking about, the women that you're listening to in the group. I mean, you've got incredible strength, and I'm wondering where have you gotten this strength from?
I never see myself as strong.
To leave kind of in the middle of the night. It's take your kids, leave everything, get to the shelter. You're there. You can't talk to your family. You can't talk to your friends, and you went ahead and You said you did it for your kids. I'm just wondering where you get this strength from.
The strength to do it. I just think my past. Kind of just thinking about some of the stuff I've been through before.
Yeah.
I had a hard life.
Yeah.
Very hard life.
So you got your strength from your past, and what strength did you draw upon from your past and this hard life that you've had that's helped you, move forward for yourself and your kids?
I think I just think about how my mom treated me. Dealing with her different boyfriends. She had her own issues.
Yeah.
Because she's dealing with her issues, she can't deal with me. And she's not dealing with me. She's not looking at me. Her men are dealing with me.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
It comes a point where you just kind of shut down.
Of course.
So after just shutting down for so long, I don't know if the light bulb switch just went on, and I just realized I don't have to take this anymore.
Wow. So when you say the light bulb switch kind of went on, what do you mean? Like, what do you think?
Like, it just clicked. Like, do I have to sit here and deal with a mom who really doesn't have time with me and doesn't love me? Do I have to keep dealing with her man coming in my room at night, touching me and just doing stuff they shouldn't, and nobody's there to protect me? Do I have to deal with this? Or is there something different on the other side?
So you questioned yourself? I mean, it sounds like you thought a lot about, like, do I have to deal with this, or is there something different on the other side? And when you say something different on the other side, what are your thoughts about?
I was thinking about my friends' lives. Just going to school and, I didn't tell them what was happening, but you kind of give people like little snippets of what might be going on, and you're kind of wondering, let me throw them some. Let me see, is this happening in their house? Because I didn't know if it was normal or not.
Of course.
And then I'm realizing they didn't go through some of the stuff I went through.
Wow.
So I realized I don't really have to go through it either.
I'm just gonna put on my doctor hat for a bit, if that's okay, to make sure I'm not missing anything. And I ask these questions to everyone just on the first time to make sure I can be most helpful for you. I'm wondering, are you sleeping pretty well?
No. I spend a lot of time in my bed trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I like to sleep. It seems to be the only thing that's helpful, like we talked about before, but...
Sleeping more than you'd like.
Yeah, but I don't know how much time I'm actually falling asleep.
Yeah, right. How about eating? Are you able to even eat anything? Are you able, that's been pretty tough.
Because that involves me getting up and out of bed. So I'm not eating normally. I'm not eating meals. If I do eat, it's some snacking on something.
It's been tough.
Yeah.
Have you lost any weight, or?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
And has it been not something you wanted to do? And how about, sometimes when people are in this much pain, they think about hurting themselves. Is that something that you've...
Yeah, I think about that a lot.
What's stopped you from acting on it?
The energy, and not having the energy to go do it.
Okay. What else?
I think Bobby.
How has Bobby stopped you from acting on this? I mean, what is...
I think if I were to do something, that he would be really angry with me, and I wouldn't want that. He's already angry and frustrated enough with me that I guess I wouldn't want to make that worse.
Right. What do you most appreciate about Bobby?
I mean, he hasn't left me.
Yeah.
So even
he sticks with you.
Yeah, even though he's frustrated, he still hasn't left.
What do you think the reason is he's stuck with you?
Well, we've been together for almost 2 years, and so he's kind of seen, he's seen me in a time that I wasn't like this.
Right.
He knows what goes on in my house, and I think a part of him kind of gets it.
What does he do that gets it, that's helpful for you?
The showing up is the part.
The showing up.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't act like he gets it really anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he does act frustrated all the time. But I feel like that must be the only reason that he keeps showing up.
So it's been so, painful for you. I'm just impressed how you persevere and you haven't acted on this. I'm wondering, Casey, what are your reasons for living?
Well, I can't imagine things getting worse. So.
What do you can't imagine it worse. So what are your reasons, for living to move forward?
And to hope that it's going to get better. Like, it can't get much worse.
Yeah. Where do you get that hope from, you think? That, you can't imagine it's getting worse, and where do you get that from?
I guess Bobby and his continuing to show up. That there's some hope there.
Right.